What's up guys, and welcome back with some more Genshin Impact, and today we're going to be checking out a video made by Vars 2 called the top 5 things Genshin Impact desperately needs. I already know these are going to be some valid points because Vars makes some great videos and we've checked out a few of them. So if you haven't already subscribed to them, Vars 2 is the channel. They do a bunch of Genshin videos on why like a character isn't played a bunch or why a lot of people play a specific character. And then there's topics like these. And there's definitely some things that Genshin needs to add in to help the game. And I think I even saw a stat for Genshin or something that like the player base didn't like recently hit the lowest it's ever hit or something like that. So there's definitely some things that they could do to improve the game. So as always, if you enjoyed my reaction to this video, be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. All that good stuff helps out like crazy. We're like almost like 100 subscribers away from 4,000, so it helps out a bunch. But let's see.
Hey guys, welcome back. For today's video, I wanted to do something more lighthearted. Over the past few videos,
Dang it. Okay, I don't need 4K quality. Let me just go here. I don't want to stress it out too much.
Untapped potential. Lack of content, existing content being kind of repetitive, and an overall number of things that are great in concept but could use better execution. A few weeks back, I made a community post asking what you guys think are the 5 most important things needed for Genshin to mostly cross-reference it with my list. Needless to say, the majority of us share the same ideas, which are the things we've been asking Hoyo to implement for going on over a year now. So let's make a video about it. I'm going to be presenting 5 things that Genshin Impact desperately needs.
And I'm so glad that he made this video.
But if we were to narrow it down based on immediacy, I figured these take precedence.
I think it's good to have somebody that's super professional about it too, and that's just not going to straight up like bash the game in a way of where like maybe like hoyoverse wouldn't even listen or something like that. I mean, I don't know how much hoyoverse really pays attention to like videos like these, but if somebody does come across this, he's doing it in a very professional way. That's what I'm basically trying to say. It's just not like complete slander of the game
into 2 segments. The first is systems and mechanics, which will range from things like user interface to quality of life, stuff like that. Second will be the actual content, such as features, new additions, changes, etc. The first mechanic I think is heavily requested by a lot of players would be a discernible HP bar on player shields. I'm honestly surprised Hoyo didn't think about this, considering they add HP bars to shields for
I've never
enemies.
thought about that.
It's extremely easy to code into the game. You just got to apply the same class and script.
That's a really good idea.
Given that a lot of units in this game have built-in shields, and how shields in general make up the bulk of a lot of party composition survivability, knowing exactly how much shield you have left is essential, because unless players memorize their
genuinely shocked. I never thought of having a shield health bar.
Counting the amount of damage as is taken, there's no way to tell how much you have left. And knowing gamer luck, the moment your shield breaks is when you get
then you get slapped around. Exactly, that's happened too many times.
I think all entities that are capable of taking damage should also have an HP bar, such as Ganyu's flower. If structures like the Hill Troll Towers are able to have health bars, I'm sure temporarily instantiated game objects can have the same thing.
It's a good idea.
And now that I think about it, this really should be the first, is a proper lock-on or targeting system.
Thank you. When we watched Vars' video about like Catalyst users and stuff, right, about like the worst weapons in Genshin, he mentioned a lock-on system and a targeting system for Catalyst users. Why can we not exactly choose where we want the stuff to go? That's all I'm saying. Or just put a little lock-on button. Just make us hit like, let's say you're using like a PS5 controller, right? And you just hit the right stick. You just click it, boom, and then boom, you lock onto an enemy. It's legit that simple. Anyways.
This seems like an innocuous change for most of us, but for the diehard Bow and Catalyst mains out there, this would be an absolute godsend. In my Catalyst video, I basically summed up that lack of proper target selection severely hurts ranged attackers, and so does lack of proper kiting functions. One game I think has a fantastic targeting system is Nier Automata. You can control
Never
your
played
Android
Nier though.
And have them do completely separate
on my list of
actions
games I'll eventually stream.
Fires autonomously at a specific enemy, even if you're not facing it directly. You can also press the shoulder button to change who the pod should lock onto, which comes in handy with the response of enemies you encounter in that game.
That is legit all you gotta do.
Genshin. If Bow and Catalyst users had a way to choose which enemy in a large cluster to focus their normal attacks on, that would dramatically increase the usability of many characters like Yoimiya, Klee, Fischl, even Yanfei to an extent.
Exactly. Also, another note real quick, I wouldn't be surprised in this video if he mentions artifact loadout sets, which we should have presets. Just a little side note.
System is the ability to toggle constellations. In totality, the only character who would actually benefit from turning them off would be Bennett, since everyone else stands to only gain from constellations. So this probably won't matter the moment he gets replaced by a better pyro support. For those who don't know, Bennett's final constellation, Fire
Yeah,
Ventures with Me,
that'll be
is
the
a
day that
powerful
there's a
one,
better
granting
pyro
all
support
melee
than Benny.
attackers bonus pyro damage and imbuing them
That'll be
with pyro.
quite the day.
Ordinarily, this would seem like a very worthwhile thing to have, with pyro being a very strong offensive element. But as you know, not every character is designed around pyro damage. Kuchin,
Exactly.
Eula, Ayaka, and Ito, to name a few, get mildly screwed over by the forcible pyro imbue, preventing Bennett
That's why I
from
never
comfortably
C6 my
synergizing
Benny.
with every character in the game. Some players choose to not activate his final constellation entirely so he can be used in any party composition.
Have
But
some
of course,
OCD with that
then you
damn
forfeit the
notification.
bonus pyro damage, which reduces the efficiency of teams that can weaponize it, like Raiden National or Hu Tao. Again, this literally applies to Bennett and only Bennett to my knowledge, but if in the future we have constellations that make a character more exclusive, being able to turn it on and off based on the situation would be a nice quality of life feature to have.
Exactly.
Fourth mechanic is an invincibility marker for bosses. With a lot of enemies getting iframes such as the Wolfhounds or Abyss Lectors, being able to know that they're invulnerable by outlining their health bar or something will lessen the likelihood of
that
players
would
getting
be
ace moves
good
at the wrong time.
also. But these are some really good ideas.
Last feature would be the ability to skip dialogue cutscenes. Look,
Why don't we have that option? Can somebody tell me why? They have it in Honkai.
I'm a writer, I studied writing and narrative storytelling as a double major, but there are some events where there's just too much talking. Lantern Red event especially, holy crap, it was 90% talking, 10% doing. I love Kuching as much as the crazy Kuching main subreddit, but that was quite a long slog to go through. Please add a skip cutscene button for players who don't like to sit through hours of dialogue. Okay,
I mean,
so
I
that
have to
wraps
because
up
I do the
5
videos,
mechanics
but
and
that's besides the
systems I
point.
think Hoyo should add to Genshin. Now we can get to the important stuff, the content. Right out the gate, there needs to be a major overhaul of the game's existing resin system.
Exactly.
We've been voicing our concerns on this ever since day one, but it's getting worse and worse.
It is.
As the game
Like, are we
progresses,
gonna get
the
a
demand
resin
for
cap? Like,
continues
are
to
you gonna increase the cap?
Characters are being added to the game at a pace exceeding how much total resin we have accessible per day. 180
Exactly.
resin is generated per day, which means you can either do 9 domains and or ley lines, 4 bosses, or 3 trans domains, assuming you used up the discounts. That's not a whole lot of stuff you can get per day. Forget artifacts, players have to dedicate a few days worth of resin just to get one character to max level, then another
Yeah,
few
they need
days
to
worth of so
increase
for
the
talents,
resin
and
cap.
then another few days worth or so to level up their weapons.
Or
Generally,
make things
with every
cost
new version
less.
update comes a new character or even 2. 2.6 saw Ayato, 2.5 saw Yaemiko, 2.4 saw Shinhe and Yunjin, 2.3 had Ito and Goro, 2.2 had Toma. Pretty much every new update has a character, and if you think about how much resin you have to invest into each
next
character,
update, Kuki
there's
Shinobu,
simply
right,
not enough to
and
go
Yolande.
around. I understand not everyone has every character that comes out, and usually the ones who can afford to do so can also afford resin refreshes, but the point still stands, free-to-play players...
I don't buy resin refreshes though. Like, I'm somebody who I spend money on the game here and there. As of right now, I'm really not a heavy spender in the game. Like, I'll get like a monthly Welkin and a battle pass maybe like every 2 to 3 months I'll get a battle pass, but I'm really trying to just not do too much with that, I would say.
The majority are stretched too thin.
So yeah,
They need a global reduction
even people
of
like me,
resin
we still
cost,
need more
or
resin
remove
stuff.
resin costs entirely for certain activities. They can either do that by making non-guaranteed or low-frequency resources resin-free, such as the weekly bosses, given that you can only obtain rewards once a week anyway, or the artifact domains, which has an obscene amount of improbability already. We don't need to time gauge something like that. Alternatively, Hoyo could maintain resin costs as is and introduce ways for players to farm resin outside of waiting for it to slowly regenerate over time. If you think about other gacha games, they usually have daily quests that restore your energy, usually a lot of them, or if your account level goes up, it automatically refreshes all your energy.
Yeah, I think Honkai does
to
that.
us every so often, but in light
Or
of how
you get
little
like
there
some
is
extra
to do
stamina
in-game on a day-to-day basis, adding daily or repeatable quests for transient resin would reward players who play Genshin for more than 20 minutes a day. On the subject of artifacts being resin-free, the artifact system as a whole needs a massive overhaul. If you're new to my channel, I suggest you watch my dedicated video to learn more about it. But TLDR, the main issue with artifacts is that it's time-gated. You can only go into artifact domains 9 times a day, and there's far too much randomness.
Yeah, it's just RNG. Like, you could get an artifact set, and it could be something, oh man, I got crit rating, crit damage. I've been trying to get this for my artifact so bad, my Crimson Witch of Flames, finally. Then, guess what? Rolls defense. Only. Defense and HP or some crap. And then you upgrade it and it rolls even more into those two. And then you're just like, what am I supposed to do? What now? Back to grinding and hoping that you actually get something.
The substats you want will level up or even get high rolls. So what I think they should do to make grinding artifacts less soul crushing is threefold. 1. Decrease the amount of randomness. Currently, there are 4 elements that are left up to random chance. The main stat for your hourglass, goblet, and circlet, then randomized substats, followed by random upgrades every 4 levels on...
I think when you do a domain, what I think you should definitely be able to do, let's say, I forget what the other artifact said. Oh, it's Lava Walker, right? That's with Crimson Witch, I think, right? Those are the two that are together in a domain. It should let you choose when going into the domain. Okay, do I want to do Crimson Witch or do I want Lava Walker? You still have the RNG if that's what you want to do, but you let us at least know that we'll get that specific artifact set instead of doing it hoping we get Crimson Witch and hoping it's something that's useful to us, and instead we get Lava Walker. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
Top of random upgrade amounts ranging from a low roll to a high roll. As someone who unironically enjoys a touch of RNG in games every now and then, this is just excessive. You can remove even one of those random elements and it will still probably be too much.
Like Genshin 3.0, they need to fix a lot of stuff. There's a lot that they need to fix.
And substats because that's part of the fun of it. But
which would actually
feels more disappointing than getting an artifact with a perfect main and subs, only to have the bonuses go to the less optimal ones. If players could choose which ones to upgrade, that would significantly diminish the disappointment, as even if you score low rolls, at least you will still end up with the right kind of things. 2. Introduce artifact loadouts and presets. Genshin does have filters to sort things out, but it would be more convenient if we could have gear presets. Almost every gacha game worth their salt has them, and I'd imagine the player base would very much appreciate this. 3. I was also entertaining the idea of adding substat rerolls. If we're going to keep all the elements of randomness in place, then perhaps add a system where the player can sacrifice one artifact of the same kind to reroll substats, or maybe add an item that resets an artifact's level back to 1 so you can try again. You'd still probably have to reroll a good number of times, but at the very least, the hardest part, that is getting an artifact with good substats, is taken care of, and after that, it's only a matter of time before you get a decent roll.
Exactly, like we shouldn't have to feel like we're going through hell.
While upgrading equipment in that game was no short of infuriating, you only needed one copy of an item to work on, since they had items that let you recoup lost enhancement slots, reroll substats, what have you. You didn't have to throw it out if you got an unlucky roll. I mean, with Star Forcing there was a chance it could explode, but you didn't have to start from scratch every single time. So with enough patience and, money, you will eventually perfect that item. Another example would be Minecraft's Anvil. Prior to version 1.4, if you got a bad enchantment or an underwhelming one, you were stuck with it. You had to make an entirely brand new pickaxe, sword, chestplate, etc. and enchant that, which is very reminiscent of Genshin's current artifact system. Now of course we have the Anvil, which lets you upgrade like a sharpness 4 sword to a sharpness 5. Or you have enchanted books, which lets you put Silk Touch on a tool that doesn't have it. It would be amazing if we could have some semblance of adjustments for artifacts. Not only will it reduce the frustration of artifact farming, but it will also add a tangible sense of gratification once the player finally perfects one. Moving on though, there needs to be a few things added to fix up the new player experience. I made a video on that one too, so if you're interested in learning more, feel free to check it out after this one. Among other things, with how most of the new characters released have Ascension materials that can only be accessed much later into the game.
Yeah, that's something that really does hurt newer players, right? Like, I know there's people in my community specifically that they'll like start getting into Genshin just because they see a character that they like and they want to simp for or something like that. End up getting the character. Oh, I can't upgrade this character because this stuff is all the way in Inazuma, or etc, whatever the case is, and it's just like, yeah, it's sort of a yikes there. It's sort of like, I get why they do it at the same time, but the other part is like, damn, that's an oof.
New players are essentially barred from using 5-star characters
or for people to take breaks from the game.
The standard banner. To combat this, first order of business and the most obvious one is to update the standard banner to include new units. Now I know what you're thinking. If they do this, we'll get to a point where there's a billion 5-star units like another gacha game. Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that I'm sure it would be really awkward for Shogun and Kuching to be in the same pool, even though the former is like 10 times stronger than the latter. But mostly no, because Genshin releases only like 1 or 2 new units a month as opposed to 5 or 6 for other titles, and I never said we had to add everyone to the standard banner. Hoyo can pick and choose which ones will be added.
What, they're gonna add Yoimiya? I already know that's what people would say. Just add Yoimiya in there, dude.
Those 3 came out in 2020, so they've been around long enough.
Or Venti, Klee, and Albedo. Okay.
Next thing to do is add some form of global Ascension material to the game, but make it very expensive so as not to get rid of the incentive of collecting each original character's material. For the sake of argument, let's say you have to exchange 5 Windwheel Asters for 1 global, or 5 Core Lapis for 1 global. We already have conversions for elemental gems or the weekly boss drops, so I don't see why we can't do it for this one.
That's a good idea.
That way someone who just joined the game and snagged Ayato won't have to wait until Inazuma to actually use them. It would also help existing players get the stuff they need, especially for the extremely tedious ones like the friggin' Violet Grass. And the final thing is to make all resin-based content free up to a certain adventure rank. While the point of time gating is to make players stay committed to the game, new players just starting out essentially missed out on over a year's worth of resin that they'll pretty much never be able to make up. By making all activities resin-free temporarily, it can let newer players catch up to old ones instead of being permanently behind for their entire Genshin career. And since resin is directly tied to leveling up your adventure rank, people can't abuse it by staying under that rank the entire time, so it already has a built-in anti-cheat, so to speak. Okay, 2 more to go. Genshin needs more endgame content, or at the very least,
desperately
content.
Desperately.
Spiral Abyss is effectively...
Can we have other stuff to do, or like actual events to do with friends that make us use our strong characters more often? Like things that just stay in the game, actually, not screw an event. Things that stay in the game that we get good rewards from. I do not know why there's not a mode in this game that you could play with your friends that's actually difficult, that makes you need to upgrade your characters, and you get cool rewards like getting a new skin for a character, or something, like just something like that. Like, you know how cool that'd be? Like, oh, hey, you want to get a cool there's a set amount of characters, let's say like 4 or 5 characters that get a new skin or something like that, and each time you complete it, like this huge mission, like, I don't know, like a raid or something, then boom, you're able to get that skin, like just something like that, you know? Like, I don't know, it makes me think of like Destiny and stuff, of how they had a bunch of stuff that you could do with friends. Just make it like they could definitely make this like a really fun co-op game at the same time, other than like an event here and there that your friend joins in, or your friend joining in your world to grab some materials or something. Like, I rarely play co-op in this game because there's nothing really to do, you know? So that's my opinion on it. I mean, y'all tell me what you think, but that's how I feel, at least. Make it worth us upgrading our characters.
Trust domains are easy, regular domains are easy, and events don't even come close to taxing a player's mechanics or team compositions. I'm not necessarily saying that all content should be as challenging as Spiral Abyss, but there should be a reasonable progression of difficulty relative to how far the player is able to go. At the present moment, there isn't any. The game stops being a challenge by around level 70 or 80 for your units. Furthermore, there's literally nothing to do in this game besides farm artifacts, talents, and stuff. What's the point of working on characters if
we need new modes?
Every now and again, Hoyo throws us a bone with a fantastic event, like the 3 Realms Gateway offering for Enkanomiya. That was a really fun one. Or the Labyrinth Works, I like that one a lot. But those are transient, only around for a couple of weeks, and then gone.
We need permanent stuff.
Is entirely devoid of anything to do. Other gacha titles have a plethora of late game stuff to work towards.
Honkai has a bunch.
Final Fantasy Brave Exvius had Dark Visions
has a bunch of stuff to do.
2 game modes that force you to use every possible strategy to get the maximum score possible. Others typically had some kind of recurring thing, like raids, PvP, or something to keep players busy and grinding while they have the occasional event.
Right there.
I think I speak for most people when I say I don't even spend 20 minutes a day on this game outside of events. Do I think Hoyo should focus on catering Genshin towards sweaty tryhard gamers? No. But there's legitimately nothing to do. Everything there is to do
like, you don't have to make this game the sweatiest game in the world, but we need stuff to do for our strong characters.
Co-op, maybe PvP. I personally haven't used co-op in like over a year because there's no practical benefit to doing co-op versus solo. In the beginning, when we were all starting out, multiplayer was the only way to take on higher level domains. But aside from that short period of time, I never did co-op. There was no incentive.
They need to have bosses. They need to make a boss that's meant to be done in co-op and make it rewarding. Give us cool stuff. Give us a decent amount of primos, new skins for characters, something, a glider. I don't care. Give me something that makes it feel cool, you know? And if you want to make it limited, make that way, I guess, make it how people really, really want to get that stuff and play the event and play the game with their friends, you know? You're like, oh, this limited time, cool looking glider. You know, like how they did with like the Sealies and stuff. We'll make it a co-op event. You could choose between 3 gliders that you want of different colors and stuff like that. And then you have to beat the boss, you know? Like, I don't know. It just frustrates me that they don't do stuff like that.
Like, maybe there could be a daily quest you can do that gives you 120 bonus resin if you do X, Y, and Z with other players. That's a start. Or maybe if they ever decide to add boss raids, we can have giant parties of like 30 people all cooperating to take it down. It can bring us back to the
I don't know about 30 people, but like a raid with like 4 friends or something, that'd be sick.
People to fight a boss. Genshin has the foundation in place.
But I don't know, maybe for some type of boss,
if they did, the game would be so much more enjoyable. All in all, a good 90% of the stuff I said in this video is logistically feasible for this game, which is
not impossible.
Why it boggles my mind
Pretty
that they
simple.
aren't doing this. One would think by increasing the player's enjoyment for the game, it would lead to more community loyalty. And
it would, and not the player base dipping. You know how many people are here that get burnt out on this game, dude? Like, it's crazy. It's very crazy. You know, that's a big difference between like Genshin and Honkai. Honkai, I feel like it takes a lot more to get burnt out on, because Honkai, they have so much different things to do, like a variety of modes, and just like, don't get me wrong, Genshin they're doing great with the current story missions, and the events are pretty good, I will say. But outside of that, when that stuff is done, what the hell are you doing in the game? Like, you need permanent modes that are going to be rewarding and fun, or what's the point of getting these characters? What's the point? There needs to be a purpose, dude. A purpose.
Or who knows, maybe implementing the systems is easier said than done. Except it isn't. Stuff like the artifact changes, you can hire someone fresh out of college to do that. But anyways, that concludes my list of 5 things Genshin desperately needs, or 10 things rather. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my choices in the comments down below.
I very much agree.
Feel free to share your own list.
Do not disagree.
If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you left a like and subscribe. Consider following me on Twitter, joining my Discord server, and don't forget to check out my video on
support them. Support Vars too.
After this one.
They make
some thanks so much
banger
for watching,
videos, man.
And I look forward to
I really
seeing you
like
again
this
soon.
one too.
Take care.
Like I said, I was really happy that they made this video. It was desperately needed. Like, and I just love the format, and just like the way that they do their videos. It's very professional but easy to understand at the same time, you know? So yeah. I mean, you let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I agree with these points very much. I very, very much do. I mean, once again, I want to make sure it's clear. It's Vars too, so subscribe to them. The link to their video will be in the description box below of this one. Yeah, there's so much stuff. The artifacts, the freaking... just nothing to do. The resin cap needs to be increased, so they need to do something with that. Like, it's simple things that they could easily fix. And this game makes a coke load of money. I don't want to hear nothing. Oh, we can't do it. Listen. Like, I'll say this as of right now, because this is going on. Like, I'm watching this video, and we're in Genshin 2.6. So right now, with everything that's going on with the game and how people thought, like, are thinking, some people are thinking 2.7 is not even gonna come out. I still think it probably will, because they're likely done. I don't know about 2.8, but yeah, the whole thing that's going on in like China and all that. I get it. If they can't fix that stuff right now, that's fine. You know, I'm not saying, oh, you know, go get out of quarantine, go do that stuff. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this is stuff like months and months ago that, I mean, even like last month, like this is stuff that should have been added in the game a long time ago. That's the point, okay? That is the point that I'm trying to make. This stuff should have already been in the game, because it's simple stuff. Day of, what's it called? I forget the term, but everyday things that we could be doing that'd be just easy. Quality of life. I think that's the term. But yeah. I don't know, you guys let me know what you think down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed my reaction to this video, you know, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, it helps out very much. We're very, very close to 4,000 subscribers. We're like about to be exactly like 100 subscribers away, so if you could help us get there, that's cool. Discord server, description box below. You can follow me on Twitter, you know, social media, all that good stuff. And other than that, I appreciate y'all, love y'all, stay safe, and as I always say, don't do crack.
Be sure to subscribe to the Special K Experience if you enjoyed this video. If not, you're going to Femboy IHOP.